Serena tell you why I'm here or what I'm speaking on today?
Stress management.
Yes. Are we stressed?
Yes.
No? Yes? How about you, Larry?
I am.
You are?
Not to any great extent.
Well, it was interesting because last time when we did this, Serena, you're so relaxed and chilled out. You learned that even though your attitude is relaxed and chill, you still experience stress. Just because of where we live. We live in the modern day. So I just want to ask, what kind of stress do you experience on a day-to-day basis? And since we're a small group, we could just, have it conversation style.
Traffic. Are you asking now?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's see what
traffic.
kind of stress we have. Okay, traffic. That's actually a big deal because our bodies never really get to relax when we're sitting in the car, right? We're always constantly on defense mode. How about you? You said you were stressed.
Well, yeah, I have both die-stress and new stress because we all have stress and not all
Right.
stress is bad.
Right.
So, and then just school.
School. So you have
Work.
school and you have work and you have.
No, not work,
Okay.
just schoolwork. period.
Okay, schoolwork. But you also volunteer as well. So that's more work on top of that. How about you, Larry?
Well, traffic would be the main thing, and then the
Yes.
secondary would be making sure I get up in the morning early enough to get my grandchildren to school.
Yeah, I have that too. Work, and I have 2 kids that I have to get ready, have their lunches packed, and
Oh, Lordy.
yeah, and then you have to drive the carpool line to drop them off.
Oh.
Be stuck in traffic. Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
easy way to do it, though.
I'm thinking of my stress. Time is always a stress for me.
Right.
Not enough time. Do I have enough time?
Right.
What time is it?
Yeah.
Where's the time gone?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me hand this out. So it's important to know what our stressors are. You can hand that. We talked about, I know here it says your work stress, but I want you to think about not just work stress, but anything that's a huge burden for you. Like if it could only disappear, your life would be easy breezy. If you just take a minute just to fill out those first 3 areas.
I don't know how to fill that out because it says about your work.
Well,
What work?
right. I was saying, instead of work, just anything in your life, like what you mentioned earlier, would work as well. Yeah, we'll work on this worksheet together, so we're just doing the first part. So it's important to know where we're at, what stresses us, so that we can take proactive measures. So today I'm going to be going through, I'll be giving you 3 steps towards a life of less stress, whether you're experiencing stress now or whether you're going into the holidays. You could take these action steps and just really be a preventative measure for stress as you go into whatever new work or school or projects or the holidays as well. So a little bit about me and how I started doing this work. A few years ago I was severely stressed out. I went through a divorce and I was a single mom, had a new job, and just was working way too much overtime. And it got to a point where it started getting me sick, because that's what happens when you're really stressed out and you don't take care of yourself. Sooner or later your body breaks down. And so that's how I fell into this work. My doctor recommended that if I didn't want to be on medication, because I was on a lot of ibuprofen at that time, just dealing with migraines and going to work, to find an alternative way. And so that's when I met my business partner and we started this company together, and that's what we do now because it really worked. But I want to ask you, what are some of the symptoms of stress? So let's say day in and day out, if you're constantly struggle with some of these stressors in your life, what happens to you physically?
I get headaches.
Okay, headaches, yes.
Like,
Back pain.
Back pain,
Chronic fatigue.
yes, that's a big one.
Anxiety.
Anxiety, panic attacks. Stomach ulcers was a big one for me, because when you stop taking care of yourself, you don't eat right, or maybe you're not eating on time, and so your stomach really pays for it. You either gain weight or lose weight in an unhealthy way. Hair loss, heart problems, it could exacerbate heart problems. 90% of all doctor visits in America are stress related, and 60% of all diseases are made worse by just the appearance of stress. So now, what about emotionally? We know what stress does to us physically. What about emotionally? Our attitude, how does that affect us?
It depends on the individual. Some people become withdrawn, and then other people become aggressive.
Right. We definitely see the aggression in traffic, right? Road ragers, people tailgating, things. So that we see a lot of that. And depression is a big issue too. You could swing the other way. You just want to give up, and there's like no way out. So now on the other side of stress, though, is freedom, ease, and relaxation, right? So I want us to think for a couple minutes, if these three stressors in our life were not a factor, somehow you're able to alleviate it, how would your life look like, let's say, in 6 months, if these three main problems were gone from your life? What would it look like? How would it feel in your body? How would your health and emotion be?
I'd be bored.
I feel
But-
like we find
Agree
something
with
to
me.
stress. Yeah, to stress.
But ideally, what would you do instead? Let's say you had time. So instead of being bored, what would you do instead? What would be the fun or
Well, I
ideal
would take
thing?
siestas, which I was doing.
That's okay.
Yeah, sure, passing the time.
Yeah. So let's take a minute to write that down, what it would look like. Let's dream a little bit if we didn't have these big stressors weighing on us in our life. And you can write it there. I know the lines are little, or you could write it on the next side, the other side. So before I give you the first step to less stress, let's dig deeper into the stressors in our life. Because like you said, there's good stress and there's bad stress, right? The good stress actually keeps us alive. It's what kept us alive for hundreds of thousands of years. Just like our ancestors, when they were fleeing a saber-toothed tiger, if you're faced with something that dangerous, our instincts kick in, right? What happens in our body? We react. Our heart rate goes faster, our adrenaline and cortisol is all pumped up so that we're ready to go into action. And the action we choose is either to stay and fight the saber-toothed tiger or to flee, fight or flight. So that's good stress. It saves us in an emergency situation. Our internal organs, the blood is pumped away and out into our limbs so that we can react. So everything that happens is out of natural instinct for survival. Just like in a modern day time, if we're walking down a street and you see a car coming at you, immediately your instincts turn on, your stressors are turned on, and you jump out of the way. You're not going to stay and fight the car. So that's normal. And in the situation of a good stress, when we're out of that dangerous situation, when we're away from the saber-toothed tiger, when we've stepped away from the car careening at us, in a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours, our body naturally goes back to relaxation. Our heart rate normalizes, our hormones are evened out, our blood's pumped back into our organs, and we calm down. But what about these stressors that we have in our life? Having to take care of kids, meeting work deadlines, being stuck in traffic, having to pay bills, dealing with relationships. These are not life-threatening stress, but these are stress that we experience that hits us every day, several times a day. And we may be calm and chilled out like Serena, but our body still feels it. And every time our body feels it, it's built to react. Remember those instincts, the fight or flight instincts? So let's say you have someone call you with a deadline all of a sudden. You may be calm and chill, but it's sudden, it's something different, it's out of the ordinary. See, our bodies are not made for modern times. To have cars honking, to have TV on, to have all these stimulation around us. Our bodies really are made to work a little bit and relax, but we're never really given that time to relax. So what happens? What happens is that our stress response is always turned on. So the cortisol, the adrenaline, the epinephrine, all those hormones are always coursing in our bloodstream. We're constantly tensed up. Our heart rate never reaches pure relaxation state. And so our stress response is constantly turned on. So that's what the bad stress is. Unfortunately, we can't completely get rid of stress forever, right? Like you said, it might be boring, and it's impossible living in this world. Just the fact that we have cell phones, I mean, that's a stressor right there. We're constantly on, people can get a hold of us. We can't hide and run away. So the key is to how do we become resilient to this? The good thing is, just as when our bodies are away from the saber-toothed tiger, away from danger, can relax, there's a trick that we can do anytime to turn off that stress response and turn on relaxation. When you can turn on that relaxation, that's when your body can go back to neutral and it can heal and rest and you can get refreshed. So, and that's the first secret. The first secret is to be able to breathe. Now, I know you're like, breathe, that's easy or whatever, but there's a proper way to breathe and an incorrect and an improper way to breathe. How many here actually has like a sitting practice they have at home, a quiet practice, like meditation, or even a prayer practice where you're just still every day for a few minutes each day?
I had one, I guess I still do, but this training interfered. I was going to Mass every morning, and that's quiet time and, meditation and all that.
Right. So this, it's just like meditation, but what it is it focuses on your body. It focuses on physically turning off that stress response, giving your body a chance to go back to neutral, and turning on that relaxation response. So we're actually going to do it here right now. And you can access this any time of day. And it's very key, especially when you're working and you need a break. I suggest you do this throughout the day, a few minutes a time if you can. But let's do it right now. So if we can square away in our chairs. And there's really 4 things you need to do this practice. The first thing is a quiet space, so this room is perfect. And you can pick a spot at home to do this as well. You want your feet flat on the ground. And you want to have good posture. So you're sitting up straight, but yet your shoulders are relaxed. So it's kind of a balance. You want to be able to breathe in full breaths. So the second thing you need is a comfortable chair. I like these chairs. They're nice and big and soft. The third thing is, I already mentioned, correct posture. And the fourth is a point of focus. Some people like to focus on a spot on the wall, or a candle, or some thought. I just want us to focus on our breath. So if you close your eyes, really gently just let them fall. And let's take 3 grounding breaths to really arrive here. And with each breath, I want you to breathe through your nose, letting it fill your lungs, and letting it hit all the way down to the lower belly. And when you release that breath, let it flow out through your nose. And as you begin to breathe, check in with your body, ensuring that you're sitting upright, but you're not holding yourself rigidly. The spine is straight, but the shoulders are relaxed. The arms and hands are just hanging to the side or resting on your lap. The purpose of this is to take notice of your body, where you're holding yourself tightly, so that you can breathe space and release the tension. So as you continue to breathe, you're going to find that your breathing has a certain pace, a certain rhythm to it that's different than your neighbor. So try to sink into that rhythm of your breathing. A slow, easy pace. Once you've found that pace, you want to remind yourself to breathe fully down to the lower belly. Oftentimes in our daily lives, we forget to breathe full breaths. We breathe up to our throat or our chest, but we forget to draw the breath down to our lower stomach. It's so important to have full breaths. This act right here will help you turn off your stress response and turn on that relaxation state so that your body can feel rest and recuperated. So you want to do a quick body scan from top to bottom, checking in with your head. Your eyelids are closed gently. They're not held shut tightly, but just very gently closed. Your cheeks are loose. You can hold your lips together, or they could be parted gently. Pay some attention to your neck. If you notice any tightness in your neck, you can just imagine with each in-breath, hone in on where the tightness is. And when you release your breath, imagine the tightness in your neck releasing as well. And as As you move the focus down to your shoulders, breathing in, noticing any tightness around the shoulders. And as you breathe out, imagining any tightness unwind, spilling down your back and into the chair. And as you continue to scan down your body, taking notice where you're holding yourself tight, where you need to release. Really feel your body being supported by the chair. Your feet supported by the ground. So that you could really sink in and relax. And if you notice your thoughts wandering, you can just take note, let that thought pass, and gently guide your attention back to your breath. Reminding yourself to take each breath fully. And you may want to pay attention to your hips and lower back. We tend to sit a lot. We sit at our desk. We sit in our cars. We sit when we eat. So just breathing in some space into the hip and lower back area. Releasing the tightness there. Imagining any tension uncoil, unwind into the chair and into the ground. And the purpose of this practice is just to be still, to see what you notice about yourself. To experience this present moment. You may notice some noise in the room. You may notice voices outside. Every time you notice something, just take notice and return your attention back to your breathing. You may even notice how the atmosphere feels on the skin, how the fabric of your clothes hang against your body. How the chair holds you underneath you. And there's really no goal to this practice. Initially, it's to help you turn off the stress response. so you can relax. But with time, it's really a practice, a time out for yourself. So in this space, I invite you to just really sink in deeper. This is your own moment that you're experiencing. There's no past incident that you have to think about. There's no future event you have to worry about. You're just focused on the right here and the right now. So in this present moment, you're just home. Nothing else to do. Nowhere else to be. And we've been here a few minutes now, so if you notice a certain part of your body numb or uncomfortable, you can gently shift. With proper posture, you'll be able to sit without any soreness or numbness. And as we wrap up this session, let's take 3 more deep cleansing breaths. This time, I like for you, with each out-breath, to push out as much stagnant air as you can. Really breathing in, refreshing air into the lungs and the belly. And pushing out any remnants of air you have. And when you are ready, you can slowly wiggle your fingers and toes, blink open your eyes, and gently bring yourself back to the present. How was that for everyone? You look good.
Yeah, relax.
Well, I was thinking, at the rate you were going, whether you would have enough time.
It was only 10 minutes. It was very, very short. It felt longer, huh?
Yeah, and then it felt colder in there.
Yeah, because you start to really notice when your body slows down and calms down. I don't know if you felt it, but when you really get into that calm state, you start to feel every little muscle.
I felt colder.
I felt amazing.
That's awesome. Now, how many of us, when you were trying to sit, did you notice a lot of thoughts?
Yeah.
What kind of thoughts?
Well, I
you
can't
can
tell
share.
you.
Okay.
No, I'm only kidding.
I was thinking, that man's gonna come in a second, knock on the door, and disrupt everyone.
Right.
That's what I was thinking.
I was thinking the lights should have been off.
That would
Oh, yeah.
have been perfect timing.
Perfect.
Perfect timing.
Hey.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wow, you get breakfast?
Yeah, feel free.
Nice. That was perfect timing.
Yeah.
If everyone wants to take a second just to refill drinks and snacks, we have plenty of time.
Well, we have to let this gentleman leave.
First.
I'm gonna take this away.
Okay.
I found myself getting relaxed to where it was kind of like, okay, am I meditating or falling asleep? I found myself going,
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. What I would recommend is to do this 10 minutes a day for the next 10 days and see how it works for you. Morning is always the best before you do anything else. Just find a quiet spot at home. Or, like for me, with kids, it's kind of hard. So on the days I have kids, normally I would get to work a little early and do it outside before I head into the office. You can always do it at night. When I was first doing it, because I was so stressed out, I did fall asleep a lot. And that's okay, because that's your body just needing it. But once you get into the habit of it, you'll be able to stay awake. And the purpose of that is so that whenever something sudden happens, you can always come back to this place of stillness and not react to it. And health-wise, physically, it does affect our physical condition a lot. But I'm happy to say that within weeks of taking this, I was completely off of my ibuprofen and medication. And then a couple months after that, quit my job and ended up doing this with my business partner now. He was a 911 operator at that time, and he wrote a book called Stress is Optional, totally based on the stress that he experienced at 911. Did a lot of research, did a lot of work, and created programs that he implemented at LAPD. And that's what we do now. We do stress reduction programs for law enforcement and first responders.
You should do it for social workers at DCFS.
That's what I hear.
I was one.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Well, we're a small company. We're just doing first responders, law enforcement now, and we do volunteer work once or twice a month. But yeah, we're definitely looking to expand because the techniques are so simple. You can use them anytime, anywhere, but it's so needed. I think people don't take stress seriously enough until you end up breaking down. You know.
I don't know if you saw today's paper, the LA Times has an article about the attorneys at the pendency court. They have, I think it was an average of 300 cases. And as a social worker, we had like 40 cases.
Wow.
And people come and go like an open door because of the stress.
Now, how about for here? Are you new to volunteering here, or are you returning volunteers? New.
Oh, you're returning.
I'm returning to AmeriCorps, but new to this particular program.
Okay. Now, what are some of the stressors that you would experience being a volunteer, or you anticipate?
Right now, for this program?
Mm-hmm.
Listening to their stress, I would think.
Yeah.
What?
It's listening to their
People that you
stress.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. I would think that mostly.
I think they call that for volunteers compassion fatigue. I think there's a term for it, because there's a group of volunteers that we speak to as well that do this type of work. They're caretakers, and they call it compassion fatigue. You take on their stressors, and you feel for them because you can't really change their
Right.
lives, make changes for them. What about the scheduling and all that?
It seems like it shouldn't be too overwhelming. It's 10 hours a week, right? Yeah. So we haven't talked to the caseworkers as to what our set schedules will be, but.
And do you get a set number of people that you work with, or is that different for each person?
It's basically, I think 2 people, maybe 3.
It just depends.
Yeah.
So it depends on how much time you spend with each client.
Right. And what prompted you all to volunteer?
I was bored.
You need a little bit more stress in your life, huh?
Yeah.
I needed one-on-one experience with clients.
And what are you working towards? Is
My doctorate in clinical psychology.
oh, that's awesome. That's good.
but it's a new area for me. I have absolutely no experience, so I figure start small and then
Right.
hopefully work my way to a clinic or something.
Maybe your company could use somebody with their skills
Absolutely, absolutely. We do refer people depending on.
to promote you.
Awesome. And how about you? What prompted you?
My dad is a Vietnam vet, and he does like volunteer work with people, and so it just inspired me to do the same thing.
That's great. So, the first step to being stress resilient was the breath of freedom. A lot of people call it meditation. I found that some groups don't like the word meditation because they think it's religious or something, but for us, it's all it is just a practice of being still so that your body can turn off the stress response and be able to relax. So we call it the breath of freedom. Now, the second thing to being stress resilient is to have balance. You know how we hear a lot of balancing work and life? Well, I think it's all life. Everything that we do is part of life. So I say you need to balance your work with play. And what do I mean by play? I mean like just fun. Like when was the last time you just really played for no reason at all? No reason, no purpose. Yes?
Oh, it was like Tuesday.
Yay! What did you do, if you can share?
Played soccer all day.
Oh, that's fun. That's awesome.
All
So,
day long.
mhm.
All day long.
Like
That's
a big
awesome.
kid, it feels good to, because as adults, it feels weird when we run and play ball and, you know, and so for me it's like, it takes me back to my childhood when I had
Yes.
absolutely no stress. So,
Yes, that is where I want you to go. Back to your childhood. When we were in grade school and they let us out for recess, what did we do?
play.
Right? It was like breaking free from prison. It's freedom! Yay! I get to go to the jungle gym. We didn't go check our phones. We didn't try to return to your emails. We didn't go do errands. We really played. We didn't do work, right? So I want us to think about something that we can do this weekend that's pure fun. Has nothing to do with getting something done. Don't kill two birds with one stone. Don't be like, oh, I played and then I also had a meeting. No. You know? So what's something that you've been wanting to do that you loved but haven't done it in a while? Think
Gone
about
to a movie?
it. Okay. You haven't gone to a movie in a while.
No, not since I saw Fury,
Okay.
which was, what, 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Oh,
Oh, that's.
I thought you were gonna say
I thought you meant like
months
2.
ago.
Yeah,
like 2
months.
years.
2 years.
Well, I mean, I usually don't go to movies.
Okay.
But-
That's a treat for you.
Mhm.
Great. How about you, Serena?
I want to read J.K. Rowling's new Harry Potter things.
Oh, I
or
heard
whatever
about
it is.
that.
I used to
It's
love
out
Harry
already?
Potter. I think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think so though.
Okay.
I want to read that.
Reading, I think reading gets pushed back a lot because it takes time, but it
I love
feels
reading.
so good when you do it. Okay. So this weekend you're going to have to do that. Yeah.
I read the paper every day.
But something fun that you haven't done in a really long time. That's just pure fun. That would give you that kind of smile. How about you? Have you thought of anything?
I've been wanting to go to. I haven't hiked into Mescal Canyon in a while.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that.
Okay, so I want us to write it down, to really commit to it. What is something that you can do today or this weekend to relax and breathe more easy? The reason I want you to write it down, because when you write it down, you'll probably do it.
Yeah.
But really, that silly, laugh out loud playing, make you feel like a kid again. That would be awesome. I know for me, earlier this week I was sick, and it was hard because when you're sick, you can't kiss and snuggle with your kids. So yesterday when I dropped them off at their dad's, I'm like, okay, in 2 days, Mommy will be better, and we'll be able to kiss and hug and tickle each other again. So I missed that. So this weekend, I want to be doing that with my kids. We're going to be in the living room in our underwear dancing and tickling each other. That's our favorite thing to do. Me and my girls. So,
You got 2 girls?
I got 2 girls.
Oh,
Yeah.
What are their ages?
10 and 13. Yeah, they keep me balanced. They're awesome. It's really cool. So now we're coming to our last thing, and the third step is really, without the last step, the first two steps isn't going to work. Because the last step helps you ground the first two steps. The first step is making sure you have a regular breathing practice. And that was 10 minutes a day for the next 10 days. Try it out. And I would love to email you guys a guided meditation that my colleague does, Adam, because that'll help you too. Because sometimes when you're first starting out, it helps to have someone guide you. And the second is to balance your work with play. And do this regularly. If you find that you really love it, whatever you do this weekend, whether it's getting an ice cream cone and going for a walk on the beach, whatever it is, make sure you schedule it like once a week or once every 10 days, just pure fun. It doesn't have to take all day either, unless you have all day to play soccer. Just even a couple hours to do a movie or something, it's so important. So the last thing is to be committed to you. That's so important. And how you're committed to yourself is by being committed to these practices. Being committed to creating that quiet space every day, and being committed to balancing your work and play regularly. And how to be committed also is to have an accountability partner. If you have someone at home or a friend or maybe a colleague here that is committed to the same thing, then you can check in on each other. It always helps to have someone hold you accountable to that. And for me, when I first did these practices a few years ago, it wasn't easy. But after a few months of really having someone hold me accountable, now I can do it regularly. So it's like a new muscle. It's like when you first exercise, you don't want to do it and it's easy to fall off the wagon. But if you commit to these practices, not only will your stress go down and you'll be able to be more stress resilient, you'll also discover new things about you. And that's why I had you really write about what your vision would be in 6 months. Because for me, when I first took up these practices, all I could see was, I just want to get rid of my headache, have some good sleep, and go to work. That was my vision. I didn't realize that a few months later, I'd be quitting my job and starting my own company. So you never know what is possible for you when you're able to manage your stress in such a way. So and that's it.